candy. You want a what? Potato? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. How's that going? I mean, you losing weight? Is that the purpose? Weight loss? Oh, okay.
Well, good evening, everybody. Nice to have everybody back. I hope they had a good Christmas and New Year and trying to get back in the flow of everyday living again. I'm still not there, but I'm trying. Um, so today we're going to call this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. If I could, 5:30. My computer says 6:30, and I always go by my computer clock, even at my other job and stuff. So, 5:30. So if we could do a roll call. Is someone missing? Are they not here?
Stephen's not here.
He's not going to be here today. Okay. All right.
Lori here. Thatcher here.
King here.
Hollowell present.
Okay. So let the record reflect that we do have a quorum present. If we could now stand for the invocation by Miss Debbie Lyons, and then the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
Good to be here. I'm Pastor Debbie Lyons at First United Methodist Church. And I was very thankful as I was thinking about coming here today that this is not a Southern California city. Because, you know, when you don't know what to do, Second Chronicles tells us you have to look to God. And that's what we do here as a city council in little old Winnsboro, Texas. So let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you just on bended knees thinking about the people in Southern California that need you so desperately. The fires are still raging, the winds are still blowing, people have lost their homes, their schools, their hospitals, their churches, and they don't know what to do, but their eyes will be on you. Tonight, oh God, though, we pray for our own city where, for the grace of God, it could be us. We have a train depot where trains can derail and old water pipes, and we have tornadoes, and yes, we could have fires, but Lord, we ask your blessings upon this city council and all of the employees of this wonderful city in which we live, that they have all the resources they need, that you've given them all the special tools that they have, the spiritual gifts that they have to serve this community. Oh God, I ask that we all, including the citizens of this community, be blessed with the 2 ears God gave us and the one mouth. It would be apt at listening to one another, that council listens to the mayor, and the mayor and the council listen to the employees, and the employees are listening to the residents. The residents, too, are servants, O Lord. I know, O God, that you are with us. You will lead us. You are the light upon our path. It is in Jesus' name that I pray tonight, as all God's people together said. Amen. Thanks for having me.
We can do now the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Pledge of Allegiance to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, and one and indivisible.
I was waiting.
Oh. to the public comment section. If anyone had a reason to address the city council prior to roll call, they needed to sign up on of course, the podium outside. And so now we will give each speaker 3 minutes to speak on matters. We just have to remind y'all that the city council and myself cannot answer any questions or have any comments. So the first name I have on here is Mr. Jim Carr. No. Okay. If you could just go to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Okay, my name is Jim Carr, 614 Airport Road. I live at the airport. I've been in Winnsboro for about 40 years. The first thing on their list was that there's hangars are not rented out at the airport. There's only about three airplanes that are airworthy. The hangars are just not being rented, okay? The tie downs out there need to be chains and not fabric rope, because that rope deteriorates and some of them don't even have tie downs. Also, there's no labels on the gas pumps for the price of the gas out there. Winnsboro is about $5.50 for 100 octane and about over $4 for auto fuel. Mineola is about $4.38 on 100 octane. But your car gas, that's $2 more than you buy it at Brookshire's. But some airplanes use car gas. On the computer, it says that there's no hangars available at Winnsboro, and there is. I live at the airport. Also, the computer says there's no maintenance at the airport. I've been there about 40 years, and I do a shop from overhauls to major repairs, inspections. The windsock at the middle of the airport is torn. It needs to be repaired. The hangar roof blew off the enclosed hangar, so that covers not, the roof needs to be metal, not canvas. But it blew off, and so there's no coverage. You got a $50,000 airplane, and the water is dripping on it. Aircraft based at Winnsboro do need to be in airworthy condition. This is not a storage junkyard. But there's one airplane, for example, hasn't flown for 22 years. Still there. Another one is sitting on a trailer, tore apart. We need airplanes that fly and be in airworthy condition, but that's my issue, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, the next person we have is Mr. Jim Willis.
I'm Jim Willis, 610 North Chestnut. And I'm here tonight just to try to bring the Bowery back up in the priorities right now. There are several things happening down there that I think everybody needs to be aware of. The Bowery is unfortunately degrading over time. Things are happening that are taking it less than what it was before. On the things I gave you here, the first page has a picture of the 3 planters on there that were there initially. Those were removed. They're still gone. They've been gone for quite some time. They're in storage. And understand there's no budget or plan to put them back out there. That I think really needs to happen. On the second page, the planters on the Bowery, when they were new, they were planted with lirapi. Now it's lirapi and weeds. And now it's they're being cut down to the ground rather than having any kind of landscaping at all on there. I think it's time to put in something like shrubs or hedges, something like that. The Drake elm tree that died earlier this year, that was actually kind of negligence on the city in a way, in that there was a broken sprinkler head that flooded the bed and was like that for quite some time. The bloom team found out what the problem was. We reported it. It didn't get attention in time to save the tree, so the tree's gone. That tree, when it does get replaced, is going to be, years behind the other trees. It needs to get out there soon. The fountain landscaping, the bloom team was, but before the summer hit was ready, before fall, I guess it was, trying to plant flowers in there. Couldn't get that funded in time to do anything. So that kind of set by its side there. The last thing is the fountain itself. I've got two pictures here. One the way it was a few years ago, the one the way it is now. In the yearly maintenance, it just hasn't been done properly. The last couple of times we put down the improper materials. We put it on with rollers rather than brushes. As you can see, there's getting stains, drips, and everything. It's just looking pretty bad. It needs attention. The whole Bowery needs a budget, and it needs a separate budget, I think, in my opinion. So, I'm bringing this tonight because this is just a few months away from springtime, when everything is going to be, when all the landscaping is going to be taking place, and I think it needs to take place. I think all this needs to take place then.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, and then the last person? No? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we have no other people signed for public comments. We'll move on to the consent items. If y'all have had a chance to look over 6.1. If we have any questions or anything of that sort?
I move to accept consent 6.1.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Is there any additional discussion needed? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The next one is 6.2, which is a Main Street Board appointment. I think most of us know Miss Christy Amerson. She was she's been here as long as I have, and I know her. It's hard for me to go, well, where do I start? So, Christy, why don't you just come up and introduce yourself, and that way if anybody has any questions, they can ask you, or...
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christy Amerson. I work at the Chamber right now. I'm a retired educator of 31 years, and when I got finished with that, I decided I didn't want to stay at home, and so the Chamber hired me, so that's where I am now. That's it. Thank you.
I move to accept 6.1, the appointment of Christy Amerson to the Main Street Board.
I second it.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Christy, you're on the Main Street Board. Thank you for willing to volunteer and serve. I can get my thing here. What is going on? I'm trying. Okay. The next thing we are moving to is number 7, and we're going to change this up just a little bit. We're going to move 7.2 before we take 7.1. So 7.2 is action to move a portion of monies from the general fund to a money market account with Broad Street Bank, which is right across the street. Y'all know the name change. So did everybody or anybody have any questions or about doing this?
information on what is happening. So I was approached a few months ago, really, about from a government investment pool fund, Techstar, who has a much higher interest rate money market account for government pools, and you know, they were ranging anywhere 4.5% to 5% for money market. Our current agreement with Broad Street in our big accounts is 2%, which is really pretty exceptional for a checking account. We obviously would like to keep things local, and so I went to Broad Street. Yeah, I went to both of our banks, but for my primary focus right now was our pooled cash account. It's a lot of money in it, and although it's a pain to have to transfer it in and out, for that much difference in interest, the difference in interest is about $50,000 to $60,000 a year, depending on what the balance is. But Broad Street has agreed, instead of moving it to a money market, I just talked to them today, and so I have a little bit different recommendation. They have agreed to leave it in the checking account and once a month to adjust the rate based on what the Techstar interest is on that day for that account only. And that, so what I'd like to do is just have your okay to leave that in place and do that. And then Mackenzie and I are working on, I'll have probably in a couple of months to present a finance/budget policy that would allow us to do some things as some of the CDs come off and the interest rates are a little bit lower. This money market is actually beating some of those rates, and so that may be the best time to move some of our other accounts and some of the other ones that maybe are carrying a little bit higher balance. But for our pooled cash, I will say that Broad Street, although they require things that sometimes can be a little bit more work for us, they have been exceptional at wanting to earn and keep our business when we've had things. And so we don't need to move it, which is awesome. They're going to do it. It will give us about $50,000 more in interest in that account. And then I'd like to wait on the other until we have the whole policy in place, so it's a little bit better. But that will then at that point allow y'all to look and be comfortable with allowing us to make some decisions with some very big restrictions on it at the same time. So if y'all are good with that. So that's how that came about.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Does anyone else have any questions?
I think it's great that we're going to keep it local and that they're going to work with us. So
Yeah.
good choices.
So how do we need to word this, just to make sure that I do this correctly? Because I don't know if I just need to move to accept 7.2 or do we need to move to allow you to make those adjustments?
I would say to maybe move to allow us to leave it with the higher interest rate currently, and that's really all we need for now. To approve it to stay where it is with the higher interest rate, and for further action to be done at a later date.
So I move to, I don't know how I'm gonna word this, I'm sorry. I move that we,
Authorize the finance
yes,
director.
authorize the finance director to keep the money, the general funds in the highest interest account.
I'll second.
Okay. So we have a first and a second. Is there any additional discussion we need?
Tanya, do you know, did you say when we might be able to move it?
It'll probably be March or April when I bring the full policy back. Because I'm also gonna go to some investment training in that time period for government funds, so I wanna take that class into account before I
additional discussion is needed? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so now we're gonna move into 7.1, action on emergency services district. I have so many pages here. So, do we have anybody, Mackenzie, present that can like start this conversation?
Could you give a summary?
Yeah.
Sure. So the council is being petitioned as part of a petition that was filed to the Franklin County Commissioners for the formation of an emergency services district. An emergency services district is a separate political subdivision that operates independently, but much like the structure of a county commissioner's court or a local government city council. This will come with a tax levy that will impact approximately 404 properties in the city of Winnsboro. And the goal with this would be to get it on the May election. I attended the commissioner's workshop meeting regarding this topic. Actually, myself and Chief Griffin and the city secretary attended that meeting. I'm not real certain how it's going to go at the Franklin County level, but being that you all have input at your local level, it's definitely a lot to consider.
All right, part of the explanation is, how would it go to the election for the voters? Since it involves a tax increase, I think the voters ought to make that decision.
It's required for it to go to the voters.
Okay, whether we approve it or not.
That's correct.
So we're just approving to put it on the ballot?
That's the consideration, yes.
But according to this, it'd go that way anyway if we turned it down.
If you turn it down, then what would happen is the Winnsboro residents who reside within that emergency services district boundaries in the incorporated portions of the city of Winnsboro, we would not be included in that and they would not be taxed.
Well, don't they already have access to emergency services? How
This-
is this gonna benefit them?
It's funding. The proposed levy at 10 cents is $2 million to the emergency services district. So,
In Franklin County,
correct.
the money's going to Franklin County.
There are, because our fire department services portions of Franklin County, they would be eligible for potential funding, but not guaranteed funding.
Who would determine the funding, that committee that was set for the ESD?
The Emergency Services Board that is appointed solely at the discretion of the Franklin County Commissioners.
Okay, so let me ask this question. So, if we tax the citizens of Winnsboro for this levy, or however you want to put it, and it goes to the Franklin County
Emergency Services
Emergency
District.
Services, which we are fortunately a part of, so our fire department could benefit.
They
And
could, yes.
Here is where I have the question. Because I think a lot of the times it's the county or town, city, whatever, that has the most need. So if you had, I don't know who's all in Franklin County, so let's just say Mount Vernon, because I know they are too.
That's it.
So if Mount Vernon had the biggest need, even though the money's from Winnsboro, it could go all to the Mount Vernon need of the emergency district.
That's correct.
So then why would we not, if we wanted to do this, why would we not do it for Winnsboro? Or could you do it for just Winnsboro so all the money stayed with our fire department?
You can, yes, that is an option. Sure, yeah, if you'll come up here.
Basically, Winnsboro got brought into this because we do have a portion of Franklin County, that's in Winnsboro. And so there's basically 4 other departments in Franklin County. You have Mount Vernon, which of course is its own entity. You have South Franklin, out near the lake, you have North Franklin, and then you have Pearlie, which is up Highway 37. So that $2 million that the city administrator is talking about, which is a possibility, there's no guarantee that it's going to be split 5 equal ways.
Right.
It was originally told to me that way. In reality, I don't think it would be. I mean, it'd be great. If we
Yeah.
got $400,000 a year, you know, it'd be phenomenal, you know.
It's not the way the tax code is structured.
Yeah, and so, and I don't know if they would be dividing it, the portion of Franklin County that we have, or the amount of calls that we make, you know, and into Franklin County. That all gets decided by this ESD board that gets appointed. Their one is to, you know, at least have one person from each represented district to be on that ESD board. And of course, they serve, it being just a one ESD, like in Harris County, for instance, has 37 ESDs in just Harris County alone. So, you know, Smith County has 3 or 4, I think. So, anyway, they, instead of, usually they have elections to pick these board members. With it just being one ESD in itself, they would be appointed every, they'd had like 2 people on for 1 year, and they'd have 3
Kinda
people
like
on
how
for
we
2
are.
years, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it would offset.
Okay.
So, as Mackenzie was saying, that their initial thought was to try to get this on the May ballot. Now, if the council approves it tonight, there's no guarantee that it's going to be on the May ballot. The temperature I got from the county commissioners at this meeting yesterday is they want to push it off until November. So that being the case, then basically this petition here would be null and void. I mean, even if you approve it tonight, it goes away. It's something to do with how the ESDs are set up, that it would have to be repetitioned. So what they have to do, you have to get 100 people to sign the petition that live in Franklin County, that actually own property, live there. And it's regardless of your county size. I mean, again, you could have the size of Harris County, and you only need 100 people to be vetted out, and it can be put on the ballot. That would have to be done again sometime probably around August if it goes to the November ballot. So basically, if y'all approve tonight, like I said, it may or may not happen in May. The temperature I get from the meeting I went to, like I said, I don't think it's going to happen in May.
Okay, but my concern is, I would rather it, if we're gonna take it from the taxpayers in Winnsboro, I would rather it go to just you guys.
Well, and that's the thing about it. It's not going to come from every taxpayer in Winnsboro. It's only going to come from that little section of folks that live in Franklin County. 404 properties.
Well, that's better than if we didn't get anything, wouldn't it? I mean,
Well, again, it's kind of on
I
the
d- I
back,
don't
it's kind of
want-
on the back of those residents that live in Franklin County, or businesses or whatever that may be in Franklin County that are inside Winnsboro city limits, okay?
so what would happen if the committee, the whatever committee, said Winnsboro's good for right now, and we're gonna give it to whoever?
Well, I can guarantee you
And they
Winnsboro wouldn't
would.
be running into Franklin County anymore,
Well, I-
besides in Winnsboro. South Franklin calls me and wants something, I'm not
Right.
going, okay, so.
That's not the fault of the residents that live in that.
Well, no, but
No, I mean, we
that's-
would still be responding in Winnsboro, of course.
But I
but,
just would like a surety we'd get something, and the way I'm understanding is there is no surety we would get for you guys, and it's
Yeah.
for you guys. I
I
mean,
mean,
that's,
My hope is that, and I think that we would be treated fairly. Like I said, I do not see if this goes to this maximum number, because they can set it anywhere from 3 cents to 10 cents, but they always look on the high side of it, okay? Like I said, I don't foresee us getting an equal share of the pie, but again, I don't think that, I mean, I don't think we'll be treated wrong in this thing, but I don't know.
that's what
it's
concerns me,
mixed
because
bag.
I don't want y'all to be treated
Yeah.
unfairly.
I mean, the great thing about the ESD is that the city doesn't have to have any more funding towards the fire department. All the monies would come from the ESD, you know. I I mean, I would set a budget and say, you know, I need this much money, you know, and I have to present that budget to that ESD board every year. And it's one of those things where, you know, you get the money, they expect you to spend it, you know. You don't hold it away, or if you need to hold it away for a major expenditure like an engine, you know, this was talked about in this meeting yesterday. A new fire engine nowadays costs at a minimum $1 million.
Ow.
And it takes 3 to 5 years to get one. If I were to order a fire engine today, we might get it by 2030 or 2029. So, but again, you know, that's where having, you know, and that's the problem with being in rural areas and having volunteer departments,
Right.
you know, and that's, you know, we get a small stipend right now from Franklin County. Not much, not anything comparative with what we get from Wood County. But what Franklin County, those departments get, I don't even know how they have fire departments. I really don't.
But,
The amount of money that,
and correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't, and I'm just thinking Mount Vernon, doesn't Mount Vernon have paid fire?
as of this
people-
past year, yes, they have part-time paid people. It's not like a regular 24/48.
Because ours is all volunteer, correct?
Ours is all volunteer.
Yeah.
Everything else in Franklin County is all volunteer. Mount Vernon is volunteer, but they do have some paid people weekdays. They do have a paid fire chief, you know, so, but they're paid people. It's like 6 to 6, Monday through Friday, and they rotate different shifts between however many people, 2 or 3 people that they keep at the station, so.
Just,
Anyway, but like I said, you know, actually, what this is asking is to say, yes, we as Winnsboro, you know, we agree for this to be on this ballot. Like I said, is it gonna happen in May? I really don't think so. I
so
really
if
don't.
if this was to, say we said yes, so if the first year it kind of went bad and we didn't see anything, can you opt out?
No,
You didn't read this, did you?
the entire ESD would have to dissolve. And then again, it would have to be put up to a vote again. And like I said, there's, before anything came about as far as when the election came up and that sort of thing, if it did go on the ballot, I would suggest that we have some kind of town hall meeting to let people kind of get it and understand it. Like I said, there's ESDs all over this state, have been for 30 plus years. It originally came from Nebraska, is where it originally came down from. But, you know, I know, you know, just like in Smith County, you know, they had really small little volunteer departments just like us, Troop and Redwater and all these little places like this, and they went into the ESD, and now they have full-fledged fire departments, full paid members now, and you know, top of the line equipment. So it can be a good thing for the community, and that's, you know, that's the thing too, because what everybody needs to understand is that, you know, this is a volunteer department, and tomorrow we could come in and I could look out there and everybody in this department says, yeah, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I mean, we
You know, there's,
understand that, yeah.
trust me, there's plenty of people out there that want to work a paid department.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, we're never going to have a problem with people wanting to be paid, for
So
sure.
Does Wood County have an ESD?
The only ESD that there is in Wood County is Holly Lake, and it is a ESD upon itself. So they tax, you know, that's a sin word there, but their residents for their ESD. So, but I mean, they still, you know, they still do fundraisers. They still get their allotted stipend from the county every year as well. So, but they just bought a brand new fire engine too. So,
Okay, thank you.
all righty.
Well, at this time, could we move into executive session?
Let me ask that question real quick.
Okay.
Before we do that. Mackenzie, what would happen to the people who have their taxes frozen right now? Would they be also exempt from this?
So just some points of clarification, that is accurate. Once an ESD is formed, anyone who has a current homestead exemption, a freeze, or a 65 and over loses it. Now, the ESD can adopt, much like a council, to put those sort of exemptions into place, but there's no guarantee. But it does not come with those exemptions. So after it, if it were to pass at an election, then the taxpayers would be dependent on the ESD to implement those sort of exemptions, freezes, and homesteads. I also think it's worth mentioning that because it's an independent political subdivision, they can charge fees for coming to your house or assisting you on a car accident. They can file claims on your insurance. These are other things because they are a separate political subdivision that they are allowed to do. They can implement fire codes and different restrictions of that nature because of them being an independent political subdivision.
Is city attorney available for conference?
I do
call?
have him on standby, yes.
Okay. Madam Mayor, I move that we move into executive session to discuss this with council attorney, city attorney.
Okay, so.
A second.
Do we have to have a
Is that,
vote?
are we going in under 551.071?
Yes. So my screen keeps going off. So at this time, if we could just clear the council chambers